This is an I Am Listening exclusive podcast.
Studying what I studied, it is really tricky because you're learning all of these things and you're like, okay, well, I've got this information now, what do I do with it? And you want to tell everybody, you want to shout as loud as you can because you're freaking out because you now know the facts and it's not looking good. Everyone knows that. And you've got to come at it at an angle where people feel welcomed and people can start slowly and then build up from that without scaring off and being like, actually, this is a situation, we need to act now or there's nothing, because that's going to make them panic and then they'll disengage. So it's a case of finding that happy middle ground where people feel welcome, feel like they're able to come and talk to you about it, have it as an open topic, an open conversation.
Hello and welcome to this Tread Lightly podcast from us at the Rainham Eco Hub. My name is Kaylee.
And I'm Liz.
And this podcast is where we delve a little bit deeper into those conversations with local everyday heroes that are doing small and impactful changes. We hope that you get as much out of this as me and Liz do and that you also laugh just as much too.
Did you know in the UK over 3/4 of adults say that they are worried about the effects of climate change, and that figure's even higher for young people? Today we talked to Bella from the Kent Wildlife Trust about what climate anxiety is, what it is that we can do about it and how it might present itself.
Hi Bella, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
How are you, Liz?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. One day I'm going to ask you this and you're going to go, actually, I'm not. You need to be a bit real because sometimes when I do say to you, how are you? You go, I am anxious as.
Yeah, this is true.
And so this is a really good episode because we talk about eco-anxiety quite a lot. And so to have you here with us talking about it and guiding us through it, I'm really excited for.
So excited. It's so needed.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's very exciting.
Bella, tell us about your role and link it across to climate anxiety. What kind of brought you to becoming kind of a bit of an expert in climate anxiety?
So my role within Kent Wildlife Trust, I'm currently an education and wellbeing apprentice, and I've started the role in April, and it basically means that I'm helping with all sorts of education activities, so helping out with school visits. The children will come from all different local schools and we'll do pond dipping and mini beast hunting. And then the wellbeing side of things, helping people reconnect with nature, so especially people who are struggling with their mental health. We have wilder wellbeing programs, which are 6-week programs where people can come along for that 6-week period, and we'll do all sorts of cool things like mindfulness out in the woods, like Blaine Woods. Yeah, it's really lovely.
How do you get to do that?
It's mostly through referral. Yeah.
Through the doctor?
Yes.
Wow,
That's you have an absolute dream job. I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting here going, have you got any more?
When are you leaving?
That's yeah. No, that does sound really cool though.
Yeah, it's amazing. Honestly, it's my dream role. Like, I came out of university, I finished my degree in July, so I started the apprenticeship before.
That's really cool.
What's your degree in?
Environmental social science, and I did that at the University of Kent.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Where have you been all our life? This is so important. Do you feel comfortable sharing kind of your experience with climate anxiety?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very used to talking about it.
Go.
So while I was doing my degree, obviously doing environmental social sciences, you're learning so much about climate change, about everything that's going on with the world and, biodiversity crises. So when I joined the University of Kent, they have a sustainability working group, and I'd signed up to it but not really got involved yet. And then I had this email come through saying, there's this research paper that's just been released and it's all about eco-anxiety. And I read that word and I was like, oh my gosh, that's me.
You didn't realise you were anxious about it?
No, not at all. It's not until you put a name to it, is it, that you suddenly realise, like, oh my God, I've got all of these feelings.
How did it present itself? Do you mind kind of explaining what eco-anxiety looks like
absolutely.
for you on a day-to-day basis?
So it varies. And I think a lot of people that I've spoken to as well, because I did my dissertation on eco-anxiety. So I've done a lot of talking about it.
Wow.
With a lot of lovely people who, just like us, are feeling similar things. And it can present in so many different ways. It can start off with you just seeing stuff on the news is a big stressor. You might see like floods or different natural disasters or, climate politics is always a fun one. And then, your heart rate increases. maybe you start looking into where different foods have come from, and maybe you need to stop eating bananas.
Do you get a bit obsessed?
Oh yeah, massively. And you have all of these like intrusive thoughts that just keep popping into your head every time you go into the supermarket. It's like, oh my gosh, should I be buying this? Should I not? Where has it come from? It's always in the back of your head, and I think it's kind of like a box, and once you open it, there's no going back.
Yeah, you can't unknow what you know, can
exactly,
you?
Which is, I think, why a lot of people who are aware of environmental issues then start to struggle with eco-anxiety.
I hear you. It's really scary. And I think, do you find that the information kind of, I mean, it would because of your job, but it kind of finds you. So before you know it, you see these like snippets of terrifying statuses and terrifying statistics when you're not even ready for it, and you're like, oh.
Absolutely. It's always there, isn't it? Because as soon as, like on Instagram, any social media platform, as soon as you tap into that, the algorithm's like, yes, I know what you like now. Yeah. And then you're seeing it all the time. So it's almost like there's no escape, really. But that it's really important to have that break from everything. And a lot of my friends, they feel the same way. It's like, actually, you just need to hit that pause button and actively take a break from it sometimes. But it is difficult, like you said, because this is something that we care about. It's something that actively you want to find out more about, because there's a big issue here.
You have to seek that information out for your degree and for your job.
But then it's bombarding you left, right and centre, and you're like, hold on a sec, I'm not sure I'm doing okay right now.
Yeah.
So it's really important to make sure that we all have a bit of a breather.
It's good to recognise as well, isn't it? I've only just discovered how to recognise when I'm getting to that point where I need to step away. And Liz and I have spoken about this on a previous podcast, that we deal with things in opposite ways. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm feeling anxious, I want to retreat and I want to just shut the world out.
Yeah.
And I want to go and just get in my little snug, put my candles on and like watch a bit of Netflix or something. Whereas Liz is a doer. And so, not to speak for you, but when you're anxious, she's like, give me stuff to do. I need trees to plant. I need to do this. I need to do this, because you need to be able to just fight your anxiety by the doing.
Totally. But it's also, I don't know whether you feel the same, it's a bit socially unacceptable in some ways. Do you know what I mean? When you're kind of, you're pushing, you're knocking at doors. I get a bit kind of frantic about stuff. And then there's a time and a place just to go, enough. Like, don't talk about this all the time. Don't bring it to everyone's doors. Like, give it a break. Like, have a rest. Like, don't plant. Like, go and chill. Like,
yeah.
And it's living amongst people who don't have climate anxiety. You want them to engage, but at the same time, like, that's not how you're going to win hearts and minds.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you square that off when, I'm probably speaking far too much for myself here, when you would have this conversation and you would beat this drum 24/7 if you could, but you can't because then no one would ever invite you to a party?
It's a difficult balance, isn't it, really? And, studying what I studied, it is really tricky, because you're learning all of these things and you're like, okay, well, I've got this information now, what do I do with it? And you want to tell everybody, you want to shout as loud as you can, because you're freaking out, because you now know the facts and it's not looking good. Everyone knows that. And you've got to come at it at an angle where people feel welcomed and people can start slowly and then build up from that without scaring them off and being like, actually, this is a situation, we need to act now or there's nothing, because that's going to make them panic and then they'll disengage. So it's a case of finding that happy middle ground where people feel welcome, feel like they're able to come and talk to you about it, have it as an open topic, an open conversation.
Okay to get stuff wrong.
Yeah,
okay
absolutely. No one's perfect.
Yes, Bella. It's the mantra. It's so good to hear that, because we say that all the time, is that don't need to be perfect.
Yeah.
Don't need to absolutely smash it 100% and always think that you know the answers, because it's not. So do you feel like you can you get to do that stuff that you've been talking about in your day-to-day job? Do you feel like you're able to get people to the table, kind of engage with them in a way that's comfortable and accessible, and get them to start having those conversations? Do you feel like you get to do that?
I think it's really great, the position that I'm in, because I get to see both sides of it. So with the children, obviously they're coming in and they're some of them are really like 4 or 5, and it's their first time that they maybe picked up a snail, and it's like, oh my gosh. And it's such a nice segue for them to come into environmentalism. Like, lots of my friends, when they're asking me what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and I tell them like, oh, it's this pond dipping, mini beast hunting, they're so excited. They're like, oh my gosh, I remember doing that when I was little. So it's nice to know that it's something that sticks with them. and that they'll carry on into their later life, and that might make them feel like they have greater access to being outdoor in green spaces, might make them feel more welcome. And with the adults, you know, working with this mental health stuff is just fantastic, because in a similar way, some people have never set foot in a woodland before, you know, like, and I was absolutely astounded that for some people living so close to somewhere like Blean Woods, this was their first time being out there. But it does. I mean, and walking in a natural space like that, it welcomes those conversations naturally, because suddenly you're talking and you're noticing about all these amazing things that nature can provide. And, you know, it is thought-provoking, and it is provoking like emotions as well. So it kind of happens naturally. And we do often have chats about, you know, what nature means to us, how we can protect it. And I think it is that calming, welcoming environment for those conversations to be had.
And what do you do when you're feeling overwhelmed? If you know you've got a day of talking about climate anxiety, biodiversity loss or climate change to children all day, and you are having a tough old time of it, what would you do? What advice could you give to people?
I think it varies for everybody. Like you said, different people have different approaches to it. Some people just want to switch off, watch a Disney film, which would be my approach.
Oh, favourite Disney film? Go on.
It's got to be Encanto, I think.
Oh,
I love the music.
That's the new one.
Yeah, love it.
Check you out. Sorry, I digress. Go.
So, I mean, it depends on the day. I'm an extrovert. I'm a doer. And I prefer being busy. I prefer being active. So, you know, keeping myself active, like sport is really important. Sometimes just sticking my headphones in and going for a run will make me feel better. I know that's like the cliche thing to say is like, go exercise, it'll make you feel good. But sometimes it really does.
Can I ask you a bit about that?
Yeah,
so
of course.
I'm kind of similar to you, but when it's really bloody hot outside and hotter than it should be, I feel like I'm running in a air bubble of everything that's stressing me out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you resonate with that? Do you recognise that like the weather for me is a big deal?
Definitely.
So I couldn't go running if it was too warm than it needs to be, because otherwise I feel like I'm throwing myself into what scares me.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people, when I was doing my research, they found like it's about a 50-50 split, right? Getting out in nature, sometimes it really helps people because you know, you're immersing yourself in nature. It, you know, reminds you of what's still there, what we're fighting to protect. But the other end of the scale is like, oh my God, it's a constant reminder of what we're losing and how everything is going wrong. So it depends on your mindset, I'd say. Like if maybe the weather is freaking you out and you can't stop thinking about it. Personally, I think my approach would be to do something slightly different. So whether that is maybe meeting up with a friend for a coffee and just switching off in a different way, or maybe swimming in the sea. I don't know.
That would be my absolute thing. So wherever we go, if Liz and I go and sneak off somewhere to go and work outside of our town, or if we go and have a meeting somewhere, if there is water, I'm in it.
Having said that though, unless there's some kind of sewage that's been dumped, and then you go, oh, even that.
But even then, I've gone in, haven't I?
Done.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting.
Oh no.
But I'm not going to let
needs
them win.
must.
So, you know, that's
absolutely
where it
head
is.
above the water.
Do you want to live more sustainably, but you just don't know where to start?
Did you, like me, sign up for Veganuary and accidentally buy chicken sausages on day 2?
Does the whole eco thing leave you feeling confused and sometimes overwhelmed? If so, this is the podcast for you.
Remember to check us out on our socials on Facebook and Instagram, the Rainham Eco Hub.
So amongst your friends, we worked with a lovely lady called Katie who used to work at Medway Council in the climate change team, and she talked about Climate Cafe. I don't know if you've come across this.
Love a climate cafe.
Talk to us about it, because
Yes.
this is our dream. We know there are loads of people who are really affected by climate anxiety. Yeah. We know that climate cafes exist. We talk about it all the time, don't we? Mm-hmm. I think I'm just definitely not brave enough to be that person that would lead it. Tell us about climate cafes, and then we'll roll back to Rainham.
Okay. So a climate cafe is, you know, in a nutshell, is a safe space where people can come and have that designated time, designated space to speak about that eco-anxiety that often is a taboo subject. A lot of people don't really want you talking climate change in their ear.
Why?
Why
don't they want you talking about it?
Why, it stresses them out, doesn't it? It's a constant cycle, unfortunately. You might have friends or family who are environmentally friendly, or, you know, they're aware of it, but either they don't want to talk about it all the time because their eco-anxiety is then triggered, or, you know, maybe they need that space to take a break from it. But it is frustrating, right? So we need that space to have the time, be surrounded by people who are also feeling those things, and just have that designated space to get everything off your chest.
I've heard they are so cathartic and so good.
Yes.
But the thought of going to one is just
it's kind
too
of
much.
terrifying, isn't it?
I don't know. I've never been. I'm just scared.
Or the idea of going. So to give you a bit of backstory, once I found that paper that they'd sent me the email about, I was like, yes, this is me. Jumped straight in. And the Sustainability Working Group at university, we then set up a wellbeing subgroup, and that was our plan. We were like, what can we do to help? And the Climate Cafe was the thing that we arrived on. So we got in touch with someone from the Climate Psychology Alliance and got ourselves trained. So we were then facilitating these climate cafes. And as previously mentioned, it was terrifying. It was so scary setting them up because we were like, what if nobody comes?
Oh, so that was your fear? Was it not about talking about climate anxiety?
Well, it's a bit of both really,
Okay.
isn't it? Because you are so vulnerable. Like, you might not have met these people before. And to facilitate is really scary as well, because like ultimately these people are coming to the safe space that you have created. So if it then doesn't serve the purpose that you're hoping it to serve, it is quite nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I hear you.
But it was just so lovely. And it's the ones that we've run so far, it kind of follows a pattern. It starts off with everyone. First of all, you often do a round of introductions. So we have a bowl of natural items. We then introduce ourselves using a natural item that resonates with you. Maybe say your name, why you're here. And then use that item to introduce yourself and your like climate anxiety. And then from there, we just kind of pick the discussion up and just see where it goes. And it often starts with everybody feeling super down. We're all really angry. We're all really depressed. And you're like, oh my God, why did I come here? It's just making
That's what makes me worry. You just sit there and
worse.
just have everyone scare you.
But then it gets better. Every single time you drop down and you're like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. And then all of a sudden, the group atmosphere just picks up. And when you leave, we often do say one word to express how you're feeling right now just before you leave, because it's quite a long session as well. They're usually like an hour and a half, so it gives time for that cycle to complete, and most of the time it's empowered, refreshed,
I love
like
that.
rejuvenated.
Wow.
It really does help people.
It's the total opposite of what I think it would do. I think I'd go there and feel terrible, but so many people say how amazing it is.
Yeah, I would really recommend them. I think they're fantastic.
Well, I guess the thing for me would be like going somewhere where I can just go and dump all this stuff out of my head. Sometimes I think that is right.
Yeah.
I think you just need to just chuck it out. And then once you've almost chucked it out, you kind of then do want to go, okay, now what? And then that's when then you start thinking
Exactly.
like the positive, I guess. And I suppose an hour and a half, that's quite a good time. That's probably tried and tested, right?
And I think it was modelled off death cafes, so it's used to people dealing with feelings of like grief.
Wow.
So it really links in well, because obviously we're losing a lot of nature, and I think that's a key eco emotion is eco grief, and so it is well suited, and I think it is a great way of finding and reconnecting with your community as well, because I'm still in touch with a lot of those people that we then went to the climate cafes with. So it's reassuring to know that there's other people,
Your tribe, your gang of people that just feel like you feel.
Yeah,
I would absolutely love nothing more than to run those cafes for Raynham. I think that would be so needed and so wonderful.
Definitely needed,
so good. So good.
Before we wrap up, can you give us some tips and advice, places to go, really good kind of help lift us up if you're feeling climate anxious? Give us
absolutely.
a how to.
That is Liz going, can you lift me up? Help. Please, Bella.
I find listening to podcasts really helpful.
Same, especially the Raynham Eco Hub, because they proper make you laugh.
Yes, absolutely. One of my other favourites is How Many Geese? Love that podcast. The two guys are hilarious. So if you need a laugh and you're a fan of nature, hands down, anything that makes you laugh, even if it's meeting up with a mate, go get a coffee, anything that is your go-to pick me up that will also help you switch off, because switching off is so important. Sometimes, climate activists, you just need a break. So everybody needs to have that, at least 1 or 2 things in your pocket ready to go, that when you've realised, actually, you know what, I think I need a break now, you can go to those things. Like I said, for me, that would be a Disney movie, 100%, or a walk in the woods, just walking, even sometimes on my own, because that's something that I haven't been very good at recently. Well, like in the past, I mean, because I'm used to always doing things with my family or with my friends, and then it's a recent discovery that actually going out on my own is really, really therapeutic, and just being out there in the woods or the beach, whatever natural spaces that you've got that you can use, even if it's just a park, and just being outside with nature is really, really beneficial.
Can I ask a question about that?
Of course.
Because I do love walking. Walking is actually my therapy. However, when I walk, I listen to podcasts, like you, love podcasts.
Yeah.
As I discovered over the last couple of months, I miss out on so much by having my earbuds in, like listening to something. And so I've been really conscious to take them out and just be surrounded by whatever is around me, to take it all in, because I just was missing stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'd do the same sort of loop with my dog, and then when I took him out, I just noticed so much more stuff, just having that extra sense to be able to hear.
And I guess just noticing that is good. Sometimes, sometimes you know, maybe the headphones are in if you're walking through the town, and they come out if you hit the river or whatever else.
In my final year of uni, I also did a lot of mindfulness. One of my friends roped me into the society, and that really helped me. Just like you said, noticing, just reconnecting yourself with nature, and reminding yourself that you are a part of nature yourself is so important, because if you're living in an urban area, it can be so easy to forget that we are natural, we are part of nature. And so taking that time out, because again, like I prefer to be busy, and otherwise I don't give myself that time out. I will just keep going and just keep ploughing through it. So having mindfulness as part of my daily routine, and just sitting down and listening and breathing is really rejuvenating. But I wanted to say, actually, you mentioned noticing. With Kent Wildlife Trust, the wilder wellbeing programs that we do, we have this acronym that I think came from a government think tank, and we rearranged it to be CLANG because most people remember the clangers, and so it like sticks in your head. So we've got and the acronym, it stands for connect, learn, be active, notice, and give. And so we try and hit on each one of those things, or as many as possible in each one of our sessions, so that we, you know, each one of those things is just so important.
That's really beautiful.
So it's a good way of remembering, and then seeing, like, as you go throughout your daily routine, or, you know, if you are feeling overwhelmed or stressed, going through that acronym and just seeing what ones you can meet yourself is a really good way of doing it.
Really nice.
I love that. And just one more question before we go, Bella. Is that all right? I really like to ask this of people, because this is how we discover new people. So who would you say is your number one, you put up on a pedestal, climate activist? Who is your, like, you're good?
Can I give you 2?
Absolutely.
So on a more nature-based side of things, has to be Chris Packham.
Big old Chris.
He's just a legend.
I love him.
You can't go wrong. You can't fault him. He's just so strong,
so straight,
will-powered. Yeah.
Have you seen his new documentary?
I haven't. It's on the list.
I won't do any spoilers, but do watch. It is worth a watch. And your second one?
And my second one, just because they're an absolute legend, Tori Choi. She's recently written a new book, and I went to go see her book launch. It is amazing.
I will check her out, and we'll make sure that it goes in the show notes.
Let's get her on the podcast.
Fantastic. She's just so inspiring, so empowering as a young person, and her, and, you know, they've got a group, and they just seem like they are doing the right kind of things and calling the right people out and making a big difference in their local community. And she's also a big one for talking about eco-anxiety. Her book is all about eco-anxiety.
Love that.
And so I'm very excited to get stuck into that one.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Honestly,
thanks for chatting with me.
you. I could literally do this forever. You've got so much knowledge that I would love to unpack. So if you are ever free and you want to come over to sunny Rainham and chat to us, you're more than welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Rainham Eco Hub's Tread Lightly podcast. If, like us, you're trying to be more sustainable, then like and subscribe to get notified when we release new episodes, or even better, share with your friends and family. Hope you enjoyed today's episode, and thank you for joining us. Stay safe, keep going, and find us on socials. Cheers, guys.
This has been an I Am Listening exclusive podcast. For more information, head over to our website, im-listening.co.uk.